Hey guys, what's up? It's jjaaxxthelegend here, and today I'm with another Minecraft Redstone tutorial. And in this week's tutorial, I'm going to be showing you guys how to build an automatic pumpkin and melon farm. That is super effective. It'll get you a lot of pumpkins and melons, so let's go and have a look how much it's created in a few hours of it working. So we've got a lot of double chests. So this is only 2 stories, but you can stack this as high as you want, and you can just replicate a few of these going to the side as well. The reason why this is a pumpkin and melon farm is because of the properties of it. You have to have the rows so it goes melon, pumpkin on both layers, so it can't just be a pumpkin farm or just a melon farm. But you get quite a lot of both. So if we come down here, we obviously get more melons because the melons break up into slices, but we do get a lot of pumpkins. And a really cool thing about this farm is how the unloading system works. The minecart gets stuck here and is stuck by the trapdoor. And then when it gets releases, it goes straight into a bubble column tube which pushes it up to the very top story. It's the minecart on the top here that actually activates the pistons. Let's get on to the tutorial. For the first part of the build, you're going to need some blocks. These can be blocks or slabs, some blocks of redstone or levers, some powered rails, and some regular rails. Once you have done all this, come to the middle of where you want your farm to go, and then build up 4 blocks. Then break the 3 underneath, leaving the top block. Then build out 4 blocks from each side. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then just do this on every side. 1, 2, 3, 4. So in total, including the middle, there should be 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And including the other side, there should be 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now once you have done this, connect it all together to create a 9x9 square. Now you can use slabs here. Okay, so now we have our 9x9 platform. So now come to the front of your build. So this is going to be the front here. And go to the very middle block and either break those blocks, all of these blocks like that, or place levers underneath every single one. But I'm using redstone blocks, so I'm breaking and then placing with redstone blocks. Then you place powered rails on every single one of those redstone blocks, like so it has like a line. And then you want to get your rail, and like so, just curve it around like this, kind of weave it around, covering every block. Now once you get to the end here, you see it kind of goes in an infinite loop. You want to break that and then turn it, and then you can place that back. So now you can just continue doing this right around. Okay, we have done that. It's time to move on to the next part, the storage drop off. Okay, for this part of the build, you're going to need some building blocks that you're going to build your redstone on. So I'm going to be using some quartz, one slab. You have to have a slab for this part, not a block. A dropper, make sure it's a dropper, not a hopper. A comparator, a hopper. Depending on how big you're making this, you might have to use 64 hoppers, or you might just have to use 2. Some redstone dust, some fence gates, some redstone torches, 1 detector rail, minecart and hopper, and a piston. Start by grabbing out your building block. This will be a temporary block. Coming to the very right corner of the front of your build, falling down and then placing 2 slabs on top of each other, or 1 block. Then place the hopper into that block with a rail on top by holding shift and clicking on it. Then place a minecart and hopper onto that block, that rail, then break that rail, and then you can also break that block. Now place a purple slab or any type of slab at the level of this top half slab here. Then place an upside down piston pushing straight into it like so. And then you have to power that somehow. You can just use your redstone torch or a lever or a redstone block. All of them will do, so I'm just going to do that. Then you can unpower that and collect your piston back again. So now you have this, so the slab is inside of this hopper. And then you need to place 1 detector rail going down the slope there. Once you have done this, come down here with the building block and place it like so on the face of this slab here, so it's coming out towards the front. Then place a comparator, so the larger bit is coming out of this detector rail, and make that go into a block like so, with a redstone torch facing towards the whole rail system. Now come on top of this redstone torch here, place a block like so, then place a dropper facing towards our big 9x9 square, and then place a hopper going back into the face of that dropper like so. And then place a redstone dust into this hopper, or any block. You might need to grab some more of that redstone dust down though, so you can throw on a dirt, some carrot, some watermelon. Wait, you might not have any watermelon because that's why you're building the farm. But, so once you have done that, come over here, come diagonally one over from this block, place a comparator coming out of that hopper that leads into redstone, which then will open a gate that we are going to place right there. Okay, so we have done this part of the transportation system. We have to do the bubble column, but it's not time to do that yet because we haven't even built the farm and we don't know the exact height where it's going to. So let's do that now. For this next part of the build, you're going to need a slab of some sort. You need it to be a slab, not a block. Some water, one water bucket, a hoe, some pumpkins, some melon seeds, and some dirt. Okay, start by grabbing out your dirt and placing it right across all of these rails, like so. So it creates a 9x9 square. Then come to the front side, go to the middle block and count 5 blocks in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that 5th block that you counted in on, break and then replace it with a slab on the bottom half and place a water bucket. Just like that. Once you have done that, grab out your hoe and then hoe the farmland straight next to it, but not the ones on the diagonal. And then create a checkered pattern like so. Do this all around the farm. Once you have done that, come to the front and on the first row, place melon or pumpkin seeds, and then on the next one, place the opposite. So I place pumpkin seeds, then I place melon seeds. Pumpkin, melon. And you just do this right the way along. Pumpkin, melon. Just like this. Pumpkin, melon. Then the last one's going to be pumpkin. Okay, we have now planted all of our seeds. Okay, for the next part, grab out some building blocks. I like to use glass and solar block, some slabs, or some regular blocks, some sticky pistons, and some trapdoors. Now place some of your building blocks that come right up to the dirt on all the sides, just like this. Just place. Just keep on placing. Just gonna speed this up a bit. Okay, so now I've done that, it's time to add another 3 layers of glass. So in total, this part that we're building right now should add up to 6 high, and you can place it on top of this hopper and the comparator here by holding shift and placing. You can also place it there, right there. You can't place it there. Okay, now we've done that, add another layer of your solar block. Now you don't have to do it in this exact way, you can use all glass, but you will have to have some solar blocks on top of this glass for the rails to go on. Because as you can see over here, the rails slightly overlap on one side. That's why I have it so it looks like it's 2 different farms on pegs, which I think looks awesome. So now do this, and then place some purpose slabs or regular slabs or whatever type of block or slab that you want to use, and make sure it's not something like glass, because rails cannot be placed on glass or glowstone or sea lanterns or any of those blocks. So you need to do it like this. And now that you've done that, come on inside and finish up that roof. Then on every one that isn't hoed and doesn't have a seed on it, place a piston in the air. So I'm just going to walk straight across diagonally because I know none of these will be... Now you don't have to place it on the one with water. So this one isn't, and this one, and this one. So you just have to do this at every second one going across. So as you can see, it's very easy to get them misplaced, but you want to make sure you don't, because otherwise it will not harvest the pumpkins. So just, oh, I missed a whole layer. But out of luck, I placed them in the correct position. There we go. So that is alright. So now that we've done that, place a trapdoor on each and every one of these. This is so, instead of placing a slab or a block here, you can walk under. But if you don't want to get in here to do any more maintenance, you can place some slabs. But I think trapdoors work fine, and they're still probably just as cheap. maybe even cheaper, depending on which type of wood you get and how rare it is. If you're in a desert, you might want to use slabs. Okay, so now you've got that, you can, if you want, you can grab out some glowstone and just chuck it in the middle there on top of this water source. That won't break anything. Or in the new versions, there's lanterns, so you can add some of those in depending on what you want to, what version you're in. Just add a lantern there, that'll light it up, or whatever. And now you can break through at the top, just like that. So now it's time to add in the rails at the top to power these pistons. Okay, for this part of the build, it's super simple. All you're going to need are some rails, some detector rails, and some powered rails. Now, we have to be careful when we're placing these, because as you can see over here, the minecart gets shot up here, it does its whole way around, and then drops down here. Now, if it's shot up here, and did it whole way around, and we made it so the other rail started here and dropped down the other side, that would not work. So we need to make sure we start it from the correct side. And that side is to our very right on the front. So we just want to do the purple blocks or slabs to start with. The way we do this is we place a detector rail on every single slab the piston is underneath. So now I've got started, we just place it in a checkered pattern like so. Just like this. Then place a powered rail between each one of these. Now you don't want to make it so they curve, because the whole point is we add the curving bit in later. So now I've got this. I can add in the powered rails like so. Now if you only want to make this one story like I have built now, once I have added in a few more rails, I'm going to show you, after I've added in these rails, how to hook this up to a one story. But then I'll also show you how to hook it up to a multiple story. Okay, so now grab out your rails and connect them on both sides like this. So just remember, like a wave pattern. So now if you follow the rails, you need to make sure you've done this correctly by following them. So if I start here, I'll go kneel, turn, then I'll turn, then I'll turn. I'll do that all the way until the very end here. Then I will get sent down to an area that I'm going to add there. Okay, so now we've added in the one story. It's time to show you how to finish this off if you want to make it one story. To make it one story, you just have to add in a powered rail here. That needs to be powered by, say, a redstone block that you can add there, or a redstone torch. You need to grab out a redstone block. Then that needs to be pushed into a block that's one further back from it, like so. So it gets pushed and falls down this tube. So then we break a block here, no, not there, here, so one below the farm. Place another rail here, and then place two more blocks with another rail, powered rail. So it gets powered as soon as it falls down. So now to test that this is working this little bit, we want to grab out a minecart and hopper or any type of minecart, push it down there, give it a little nudge. Oh, you'll have to add things onto the side because otherwise that'll happen. Give it a bit of a nudge, it should fall down there and get shot back, and then you'll see it'll get pulled into the system. So let's have a look at it going around. So once it's in the system, because there's no items in it, it won't let it through. So now it's time to add in the thing to take it up to the second story. Because, okay, to do this, it's super simple. You just grab out some blocks of any type. So I'm just going to grab out some purple blocks because that's what mine is made out of. You just want to use some rails to bring it up to the location of where your rail starts. So mine's right there. So just like this. And you want to curve it around maybe. Bring it up. And curve it around, then bring it up. So just like that, you'll have to add in some powered rails and make sure that doesn't happen there where it curves on the slope right here. So we need to add in an extra bit there. And then we can just hook that up. Oh, there's a problem. It curves on the slope, so we need to fix this. You can do that by moving this across one. So yeah, you just really have to bring it up to the top. There's multiple ways of doing this. I'm just showing you one way, but you can do it in multiple different ways. So it is really annoying placing all of these because you might have to move them one down every single one of them at times, which is super duper duper annoying. So that goes up, that goes up, that goes up, it curves, that goes up, and boom. And then you add some powered rails in that you can power with the levers. And that farm is actually complete. But to add the second story, we're not going to use these rails. So, now let's go straight onto building the second story. So let's just break all of this. Except for this powered rail here, which we leave, and with this block, then we can break all of the blocks. So make sure it just comes out, then goes diagonally one up. But you also want to leave this, because on the second story, it'll fall down here, and then do the whole lap, so we still leave that there. But now we also want to add in a powered rail, going one block out, powered like that with a block up, so we make a tube like this, surrounding it. Okay, so now it's time to move on to the second story. For the second story, you want to replicate the exactly the same thing. So you just want to come 2 more blocks up and then create an outline like so. So that's outlines 2 blocks up from the bottom, the block your rails are sitting on. Just like this. So including the rail, the block your rails are sitting on, it's 3. So now we can just make this out, finish this outline. Then you want to fill that in with dirt. Your 9x9 square in with dirt. You want to come to the middle again. That is, let's test that's the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the middle, and place your slab with the water, and then you want to hoe the ones that are beside it, not diagonal, and then create a checkered pattern. And presto, we've hoed it all, and then you want to place melon, pumpkin, melon, pumpkin. So melon, then pumpkin in the next row. The only thing that's going to change on the second floor is the delivery system. It's pretty expensive using the rails, but it's impractical to go to the nether to get soul sand just for one story. So, let's use the bubble column system now. Okay, so now you've built this, you want to grab out some glass and build up 3 high, and do exactly the same thing with the whole pistons. Where you place them on every block that hasn't been hoed, like up above them. Just like that. And then you want to add in your roof layer and the pistons. So I'm going to cut until where I'm doing the pistons to refresh your memory. So let me just add in this roof layer. Okay, I'm inside and I've done the roof, and it's time to add in the pistons. Now, like before, just add a sticky piston on every block that hasn't been hoed. And then place a trapdoor on each one of those pistons. Now, before we place the rails on the very top level, I've got one thing to say about the lighting. If you want to use, say, sea lanterns or glowstone on the roof for the lighting, you actually can't. You have to use a block like jack-o'-lanterns, because rails can go on top of them and they let light shine through the bottom of them. Where sea lanterns and glowstone, rails cannot go on top. Let's make sure we've got everything right here. Okay, so say I wanted to add in some light on every one of these corners. I'll grab out a jack-o'-lantern. You could do this on the bottom as well. And place like this. Now you don't have to do this, you can always add just a glowstone, but if you want to make sure they have the maximum amount of light, you can add in the jack-o'-lanterns, or you could even use the jack-o'-lantern there, or some glowstone, or you can use some lanterns or torches on the edges. Oh, now I need to add in the trapdoors. So I'm going to skip to once I've done that, so just add all the trapdoors on top of the faces of the pistons. Okay, so I've added in my trapdoors on every single one of my sticky pistons, my jack-o'-lanterns, and my glowstone. Now it's time to add in the rails, so we need detector rails, powered rails, and regular rails. Now, instead of starting from the front right corner, like we did at the bottom here, front right corner right here, we're going to start from the back left corner, and we're going to go to the very edge here, and not just on the purple ones. So start there, and now these don't have to be your detector rails, because these are not going over any pistons. Then you want to turn it, and then they have to start being detector rails. Now you have to be very tricky in the way you place these. so they don't make a giant loop. So now you can see they're wanting to go straight into that, so I have to keep on going like this. Oh, I'm using the wrong rails there. There we go, there we go. And then turn it around. You might have to remove that to turn it around, and then you can add it back. And you just want to do this until the very end over there. Now the reason why we're starting on a different side is so these rails end up falling off straight above that hole, which is exactly what we want them to do. There. And then you can place one more powered rail going out off the edge, and then you want to build this tube up like we did at the bottom. So go straight down. You need to power that. Now you don't have to power that one because it will get powered by this detector rail here and push the minecart forward. So now we've got that infinite loop. It's time to hook this part up to our bubble column system that we're placing down here. For this next part of the build, the water bubble column transportation tunnel of doom, you are going to need soul sand, a water bucket, or some water buckets, some glass if you want, some building blocks, some powered rails, some levers, and some signs. Okay, now come to the side where your sort of item detection / transportation system is here. And then right here, from this powered rail, it should come 1, 2, 3 rails out, and then one to the side, going deep, going like downwards that way. And then it should go diagonally, one up using a powered rail, like so. And then you want to place soul sand right where that block is. So instead of that block, replace with soul sand. That rail will break. So you can place that back, but as you can see, it's going straight into that soul sand. So you place one rail on top of that soul sand, and then you break that. Now place glass on every single side of the soul sand, not including the center, just like this, and then break the one side that the rail is on, and then build all these sides up to the height of your the bottom floor, or the top floor. How would you describe this? The roof of the second story, or the top story where your rails are on all the sides, including the one the rail is on, but you just miss that one block there. So instead of placing your first block there, you place it there. So you bring all of those right up level with the floor the rails are on, like this. And then you break this block here, so the opposite side to where that one's on, and then you place 2 blocks on the edge of that. Now grab out your signs, and then come down to the bottom, and on one of these sides, either one, place a sign. You can put anything on this. You could put hi, or just HJ if you're too lazy to look down at your keyboard. And then you can just put another thing that actually says hi, another sign like that. So you kind of have a corner shape made out of a sign, so when I add water in here, the water does not flow out. Now do this at the top as well, but do it here instead. So once I place water there, it will not flow out. So now it's time to add in water. So instead of adding water in just at the top and letting it flow down, like this, filling all of that, which will then cut off this bubble stream and the minecart will get stuck, you have to add it on every single layer. So let me just remove that. So I have to go slowly up, and then add that. It's actually quite fun, that. Just keep on doing this. Pretty simple. Till you get to the very top. And then you can add a little roof onto this whole capsule. So now this rail will come right along. We have to power this using a lever. And if it doesn't have enough power, we'll add in another powered rail there, if you want. And then it will go up our bubble elevator, and then it will flow down into our soon-to-be-made rail system. To create this, come one block down from the block the flowing water is on, and place a block. Then add a powered rail on that block, and then another block with another powered rail. Then power these with a lever. And then, anyway, just hook it up to this rail right here. There's multiple ways of doing this, but you need to remember you can't turn while going upwards. So if I go about some regular rails, I forgot to list those. You cannot turn while going up, because otherwise that will happen. So you have to turn and then have an extra rail there to go up. Now you will need to add a few extra rails in here and there in this system here, just so the minecart can get there safely without stopping. So that should be good. And now it is basically complete except for the storage system, where there's two different ways on you can do it. But let's quickly test out our transportation system by going up here, breaking one of these regular rails, the one not in front of your powered rails, and replacing it with a block. Then grabbing out your minecart, any type of minecart, chuck it on this power rail and giving it a nudge up our water stream. You can see it flows up, gets pushed off, and will go along its journey. But because it's not connected, it will stop. So now it's time to work on the storage system. Okay, coming down to this first hopper, I'm going to show you two different ways you can store your watermelons. The first one being the one I have over here, where it just goes straight down into a bunch of chests. This would be good if you have this raised or if you want your chest underneath, because then these chests down here are full. But if you want your chest directly to the side, there's a different one that looks a bit like this one, which I have on my automatic wheat farm. A link to that will be in the description down below. I'm also going to show you how to hook it straight up to a composter, which will definitely be useful if you want to make a bunch of bone meal. So let's go do that. Okay, the first storage system I'm going to be showing you is the one that I built over there, where it goes straight down. Okay, to build this, create a 2x2 hole, so the back left corner is where the hopper is basically pointing into. And then, dig that down a few blocks, or however many chests you want. Then dig out a 2x2 hole in front and behind, like that. So in total you should have a 2x4 hole. Then then come to the front, these front blocks here, and then come one block forward and place double chests going right all the way up to the top. All the way up to here, just like that. And then place hoppers going into the back of each of these chests on one side, and that should be the side your hopper is going into. So now if I add an item into here, any type of item, a chest, it should end up in one of these chests, normally the bottom one. And the next chest will start filling up once this chest here, and then this hopper, so once both of these have filled up, then this one will start filling up, and then this hopper, this one, this hopper, this one, this hopper, then that hopper will. So you might want to add a lot of these, because as you can see that I've probably filled up a bunch of these chests. Okay, so now to install the second one, you just want to refill all of this if you've built this, and when you, in your creative testing world, I want to compare them. You want to come back to the way we started before, like this. Then you want to grab out some materials. The materials you're going to need for this bit, this is going to be without the composter, are some hoppers, some droppers, make sure they're droppers, not dispensers, some comparators, some redstone repeaters, some redstone dust, and some chests. Okay, to start this next storage system, come to this hopper here and then walk directly in a line straight to where you want your chest to be. Now if you want it somewhere curvy, that's all good, but if you want it next to it, you have to walk in a line, and it has to be at least like 10 to 15 blocks away, because you don't want any of your redstoning to be under that. So once you found your spot, so say I want my chest to start here, come one block forward and then start placing your double chests. You can go up to 3 high, but you can go just 1 or just 2. But I'm going to 3. So I'm going to have a 3x4 area, that is 12 with double chests. That is some quick math. So there we go, that's a 3x4 area of chests, and that is like quite a few blocks away, so no redstoning will be under this. Now place some hoppers going into the back of each and every one of these chests, like we did on the other storage system. Just like that. And then come 4 blocks away from this hopper here on the very side, closest to your other mechanism. So come 1, 2, 3, 4. And on that 4th block, place a dropper facing into the sky, then another one on top of that, and one more. Make sure they're droppers and not dispensers. Then bring your hoppers coming from here, or coming from here, so the hopper goes into that bottom dropper, and then bring that hopper chain all the way, so this hopper here is going into that, and then there's the hopper chain, and then it goes into that. Okay, so now come to the top of your dropper, and then walk off the edge to the back, and place a redstone comparator coming out of the bottom dropper, going into a redstone repeater, which then goes into a comparator which you turn on by right-clicking it. Then you surround that with redstone dust to create a clock, and you bring that redstone so it's just not in line with the droppers. So it ends there. Oh, and then you need to grab out some building blocks. So I'm going to grab out some bright yellow concrete, and then place 2 like so, place 2 redstone on top. So this redstone is going into the middle dropper. So it should look like this from the sky view. And then when you place an item into there, say like a bunch of redstone dust, I don't know why you have redstone dust in there, it'll spew out the top. Now I better take that out before it turns into an infinite system, because it gets thrown back into the hoppers. So now that we've done that, you want to grab out some yellow concrete, come over to the very, very right side of these chests, build up some blocks until 1 block above these hoppers, and then place a hopper chain that comes right along those hoppers, plus some more, and ends right where the dropper chain starts. Like that, and then you can break those temporary blocks. So it should look like that. So there you have your basic storage system. But now I'm going to add in a composter that composts the rest of the things once all of these chests and all of these hoppers here are full. It's time to do that. To do this part of the build, all you need is the 1.14 version, and some hoppers and some composters. Now you can build this normally like this, and then once the 1.14 version is released, you can update your world and then add this onto it. That's the beauty of the composter and this design. Oh, you'll also need some chests to put the bone meal into. So if you want to learn more about composters, make sure to check out the video down below. Okay, so with the chest, just place it straight next to it, just place 1. And then make this hopper chain come 1 more over. And this can be going into a temporary block, so it doesn't have to go into nothing. And then replace that temporary block with a composter. And then place a hopper going into either a chest there. You can have 2 double chests, or you can have 1. So you can just make this go straight down into another hopper going like that. Or you can make it go into another chest that's here. So why not have 2 double chests? So that means once all of these are full, all of these hoppers here, the chests are all full, you'll start be given bone meal for every 8 pumpkins and every few melons. So if I grab out some pumpkins, say you chuck 60, go up 64, so throw them in there, and you can see the composter raising its level, then you'll see the bone meal, and then boom, you've got some bone meal in there. So now let's take those out. So now you have a fully complete storage system with a bone meal generator that you can add and remove. So that's going to be the end of this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please leave a like, comment, and remember to subscribe if you're new. We just hit 900, and we're already on our way to 1,000. It would be so awesome if you hit that subscribe button and liked it, and hit that notification bell to stay updated with all of my latest Minecraft tutorials. So I will see you guys later. And oh, and happy melon and pumpkin farming.